Can I go? I guess I'll go. Steph, Draymond was talking about the playoff race and said he doesn't really think about teams you could catch or teams behind you. Feel like you just got to win the games you're supposed to win. As good as Philly is, does it always feel like you're supposed to win when you're at home? I mean, there's urgency in every game, but when you're at home, does it feel like to keep pace you need to win every home game?
I mean, it's just a matter of what you want to focus on, whether it's the standings race or the momentum that you need to build down the stretch of the season to find some type of confidence in how you perform in the playoffs and how everybody attacks their role and all that. I'm sure everybody has a little different vantage point, but it all leads to having a sense of urgency on winning the next game because of just the time of year we're in and what's at stake in the big short term and long term in terms of trying to reach a goal. So it all matters.
If I guess a quick follow, as part of that answer, Draymond was saying the priority is the top six. It's just stay out of that play-in.
For sure.
How much do you feel that, I guess?
I mean, we knew how big that was in Dallas to get, tiebreak against them, and for us to feel like if we take care of business here at home, that will help us. We don't know what you can't control other than your win. So you definitely want to stay out of play-in tournament because you never know how that can go. A single game here or there, and it gives you an extra week to prepare for whatever first round series you might have. So, I mean, if we can control that, we would like to, do that.
It's also following up on Ron's questions. Draymond was talking about, he's a guy who really maybe doesn't love March basketball, but really gets up for that April, the playoff basketball. Jordan was in this post-game interview talking about it's playoff JP and stuff. Do you feel guys kind of making that shift, this team that historically has always really gotten up for playoffs, that it's kind of molding into that now?
I mean, yeah, but last year we were terrible in the last 12, 15 games. But the mindset's always there. You're trying to put together a solid run leading into the playoffs. Nobody wants to limp into the playoffs and then have to turn it on. I mean, we somewhat did that last year, but you'd rather not have that kind of uncertainty going in. No matter how it plays out, you want to be firing on all cylinders. And for us to bounce back and put together a solid string of games like we did the last two on the road tonight and hopefully, over this homestand, you just want to feel good going into whatever the playoff picture looks like.
What stood out to you about the way that Jordan played in the fourth quarter? And do you feel like, talking about flipping a switch, do you feel like a switch is flipping for him lately?
I think it's just clear that when you approach the game the right way in the sense of just your effort and focus across the board, that's not just a JP thing, that's everybody, that good things usually happen, on both sides of the ball. So I think we had 19 in the fourth. He competed on the other end and got rewarded for it. And he was just very assertive and decisive the whole frame. So for us to have the versatility to, call his number for a majority of the fourth, understanding how they were guarding us and him taking up space and creating driving lanes and knocking out big shots, it was a fun way to play, and to see him go off. And then they made a couple adjustments. I got loose for a couple shots, so Clay got open. Everybody was a threat, and JP started the whole thing for us. So it's just a matter of him being ready for whatever he's asked to do and whatever the game requires. Might not always be crazy scoring, but it's just being aggressive and being ready. And he was definitely that tonight.
Hey, Steph, earlier this season, Steve Kerr was saying he would, trust Poole with more minutes if, his defense kind of stepped up. What do you think of his defensive effort tonight and just, in general, how he's developing on that side?
Again, it's just an approach. Nobody's asking him to be a defensive stopper. Nobody asked me to do that when I was, early in my career. It's just effort and consistency with it. So it takes 5 guys to defend, especially nowadays with how much skill there is across the board, on the other side. So you just don't want to have anybody on a different page, than the other 4 guys out there, because it takes the whole team to, be in the proper help side, to make multiple efforts, be able to guard the ball and keep it in front of you. All that stuff has to be a cohesive effort, and he did that last year in the playoffs. He's shown signs of it all year, and then for him to just be as consistent as possible in that front, again, the game's going to reward you on both ends, because you're locked in and focused.
You mentioned, Steph, the amount of skill that's out there on the court. Obviously, they didn't have Harden. Pretty huge game from Embiid today. And across the board, usage rate for All-Stars this year is over 30% across the board for the first time ever in the history of the league. I was just curious, as you've gone through the year, you're going up against all these guys, yourself, Joel, you start players every night. It seems like teams are leaning into giving their stars the ball more than ever, leaning on those guys more than ever. I was curious if you felt that to be the case, and if so, how it's changed sort of the way you guys are both going at teams and the way they're going at you guys.
Yeah, I think it's, you look at the top 20 scorers in the league, the volume is crazy, and I think more than that, you're starting to understand how teams are building around those stars to kind of highlight what they do best, and, giving said guy their best shot at trying to win at the highest level. And Joel's been doing it for multiple years now, but it seems like he's taken another notch in his game, and there's an understanding around him of how to create as much space for him to go to work, and how much you have to try to send bodies at him, but he still finds a way to get 46. So it's around the league. Like, everybody plays a different style, but the stars or the volume scorers seem like they have the right pieces around them for the most part. So it's trending in that direction, and there's just a lot more skill across the board from role players too, that everybody can be a threat. So you can't really just shade to those guys. It's not how the game really is played anymore.
Well, and Steve was talking earlier about the fact that because there is so much shooting, there is so much skill on the court that you can't, like you said, you can't really go at guys anymore. Obviously, you guys did that down the stretch tonight, whether it's you or Jordan. You're kind of playing off of each other that way. Do you think that is a big part of it, that just you can't load up on a guy anymore with the way teams are using spacing and shooting now?
Yeah, for the better teams in the league, that's how. I guess that's the recipe and the formula, and you have to keep trying to reiterate that every year. And just you got to be a little bit more creative, I think, to guard the best scorers in the league. Try to take away their bread and butter, but they're still gonna find a way to score. It's just how skilled we all are. And I think it's great from a fan perspective. I think it's great from the total overall in the league, just to see that much skill be displayed every single night.
Do you remember the 3-word slogan that describes what you guys did tonight?
The what?
The 3-word slogan that describes what you guys did tonight in the fourth quarter, down 9, come back to win.
No. Would you?
Protect. Come on, man.
That
was a layup for you.
You threw the lob at me. You gotta know I'm not above the rim type guy. So we gotta throw it in. You gotta tell me. We protected this house though.
You guys, this is the fourth. This is at least fourth time this year you guys have come back in the fourth quarter, down heavy, some double digits. Tonight it was 9. Does that over time give you guys a mentality change? I mean, does that give you a certain belief? I mean, what happens in that fourth quarter that allows you to come back, and how do you carry that forward?
I mean, we've done it at home more than we have on the road. So whatever that is in terms of just playing sound basketball, I think the biggest thing was I want to say we only had like 1 turnover in the fourth, maybe not even, just because we were more intentional what we were trying to do on that end of the floor. And then when you get good shots, even if you make or miss, you're able to set your defense or not give up, live ball turnovers that change the momentum of the game. And then it's just, a possession here or there where you can get a good defensive stop or make the right guy on the other team shoot so that you can keep it to one shot and get as many good looks on the other end. So we've done it a few times here where we've come back. We obviously don't want to be in a situation where you're down, 9 or whatever it is to start the quarter. I think at one other point in the fourth. So, but playoff type basketball, you got to win games a lot of different ways. We talked about that a lot. So it's nice to know that we're never out of it.
Steph, the White House announced that you joined that council to help promote healthy lifestyles for kids and that kind of stuff. How important is that stuff to you still at this point in your career? And obviously you're doing so much on the court, but to still make a point to be involved off?
It's an amazing honor when the White House reaches out and wants you to be a part of that council. It's something me and my wife have been on with our foundation, Eat, Learn, Play, for the last 3.5 years, almost 4, and even what Curry Brand does in terms of creating safe places for kids to go play, refurbishing courts and working with community centers, giving investment around programming and training coaches to service these kids and then the next generation. All that stuff is kind of important. It's obviously important, but to do it on a scale where we can have some impact or input and impact at the national level too, it's a big honor. So can't wait to see the fruits of that work as well as everything else that we do.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Steph.